Yeah, so welcome everyone for taking out time, first of all, for this exploration. Um, so today's topic is very obvious to all of you, and as you have seen on the poster, it's about almost a discovery of what love is, deconstructing our ideas and images about love, what society has given us, and maybe finding it out at first for our own self, freshly for our own self, what really love is and what are just images and preconceived notions about love. So, I would like to make today's session, the vision is that it may be an exploration into our own life, so that we understand and come closer to it even more, even further. So I would like to request you all to participate as much as you can, and because without our life's experiences, without what I've truly felt in life, I cannot discover, I cannot explore. So it's not a one way monologue, it's more like a revelation for each one of us, more like a discovery. So we all have to be equally together in this journey, and because we wanted to make for our own self, we want to make the discovery for our own self. So if I give you the discovery, right, or I give you some idea about love, I think that is, the society has already done that. Society has already given us a lot of ideas and images about love, and we see that somehow they are not really what our experience is in life. So can we relate at first hand, what love is and what love is not, based on our own experiences in life? Otherwise it will be just another idea in our head, more than a idea, it will be a mental burden, and I may just take it as coming from, maybe we get attracted to a new idea, so I just take it, looks beautiful, new idea, and without knowing, without discovering whether it is really true for me, I begin to adapt it into my lifestyle. So that is not what we want to do here. We want to really go close to each and every movement of life. And today's theme is love, uh, the images about love, and then discover the truth behind those images for our own self. So, with that, I would like to request each one of us to share what we think or feel love is, and what we the our present understanding on love, what do we feel, or what do we how do we want to express out when we want to talk about love, what love is and what love is not. So any practical first hand experiences that you want to share, coming out of your own understanding, would be really very welcome, because maybe you have reflected upon it and have been reflected upon reflecting upon it. So that would be really nice. So if each one of you, one by one, would like to share why are you here today, why this topic matters so much to us, and what is our present understanding. So you can unmute and share, and if you are uncomfortable unmuting and sharing, you can also type it in the chat window so I can read it out for the rest of us. And it's okay to have moments of silences in between. So these are moments which are allowed in these sessions. We can have moments of silences because we need them more for understanding, for reflection. So allow yourself to have a pause whenever you feel it necessary. We can also start from what society tells us about love. The images that we receive from society, and with society we also mean the movies, the advertisements, anything out in public, in open, what people have notions and ideas about what love is, what it should be like. And the very obvious demonstration of it is how we celebrate days like these. What does the society want you to celebrate? What is all the media telling you how to celebrate? And why to celebrate only one day in a year? So we can start from these ideas that have been almost, they have been internalized in our minds, and we have, without questioning, we have taken them that yes, this is what love should be like. And the result of which is very, very obvious. We know how painful and full of misery relationships can be, owing to the fact that they are not coming out of my own understanding or discovery. They are just the images that society has told me, and I have just been following, trying to fit myself according to those images, thinking that this is love. So ask, take a moment, because it's a very daring step to have the courage to question the present beliefs, at a mass level. Is insecurity love? Is would possession be named as love? Can possession be love? Can a lack of freedom, because whenever there is possession there will be lack of freedom, right? A suspicion, doubt over the other person, would that be love? Wanting to be handicapped on a person, depending on a person for your peace and happiness, would that be love? Almost abusing the other person, and hence trying to limit the other person. In the same movement I limit myself also, and I try to limit the other person, that you belong to me, and hence you do not belong to any other fellow. Would that be love? Would not love go together with freedom? And if love seems to go together with freedom, then how can it go together with possession, jealousy? Because along with possession there would be jealousy. They're all, as if it's like a bouquet that comes together. Fear fear that the other person may, leave me anytime. Yes. Yes, so yes, Jasmine, so you're saying that we can only realize it if we realize that love within ourselves. So can we start from this base, that at the moment we are beginning to discover this love within ourselves, we have not yet been in touch with it. And had we been in touch with it, my relationships will emit that out. It will be an expression of my love. So my outer relationships are a very good mirror for me then to see that whether I am operating from love, or whether I am operating from a sense of lack, jealousy, possession, insecurity, that I am insecure, that if this person is not there in my life, how would I, I'll be just alone. Fear of being lonely. So if we do not make the whole field of relationships as a self discovery, like a self exploration, usually how we take our relationships is we are insecure about many things. We are totally insecure about ourselves, and it's like I am using the facade of the other person, I am using the mask of other person in order to escape, so that I don't have to face that insecurity. So the other person almost becomes a crutch for me. I'm handicapped in that sense. Yes, Himanshu, you want to share something?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
People, many times they don't realize what exactly they need in life, and it 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 so happens that they are looking around people. They are looking around in the way of how people are living, what kind of lifestyle they have, what things they have, and in a way they create that void within themselves, looking at what the other people have, and and the I wouldn't say desire, the desire to achieve that, and if that doesn't happen, they try to marry someone, have kids, and then they think that they push it on to their kids, and probably if my kid achieves that, I'll feel happy. And there is no break where a person stops and tries to tries to stop this whole cycle, continuous cycle of
Yeah.
this just looking at other people and trying to live their own life based on how people around us are living.
Yeah. So what do you think, where shall we begin then?
Yeah, like how Jasmine G has written, we can only realize it if we realize that love
So
is
I'm
within.
so I'm just asking you, you shared that there is a whole lot of society that wants to propagate this fact that if you don't have this, you are less. If you don't have such kind of a thing or property or whatever, a person in life, you have a lack within yourself. And more often we internalize that, we begin to feel more and more that yes, I am lacking, yes, I am lacking, because the whole of the world is telling me that I am lacking. So without questioning that am I really lacking, I think I'm fine. Without questioning, I take that inside me and I begin to feel this sense of lack, right? And then I want to have another relationship or another good job or another good car or whatever, and want to fill up that void within me, right? So I am asking you, or I'm asking you all, I'm asking us all, how do I break this trap of feeling a lack and trying to fill it up, feeling a lack and trying to fill it up? Because we have seen why to break this circle, because we have seen that it's a continuous vicious loop. It's not giving me anything. Has it been giving me anything, I would not even try to wonder about it. So ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे फायदा होगा इससे, बट मैं देख रही हूं कि मुझे कोई फायदा हो नहीं रहा है. So shall I not investigate it? Can I not dare to investigate what is the whole majra, what is the whole game going on? So that's what I was asking each one of you, that where shall we begin? Or do we want to remain in this trap forever in our lifetime? How do we start? Is there a possibility to come out, or at least to look that yes, there is a vicious loop? A feeling of lack, then trying to fill it up, nothing fills it up. We feel okay for some time, and then the lack comes again, then the lack comes again, then the lack comes again. So how do we break this trap? Do we want to break this trap? Do we want to understand what's going on in my life? Because without a want, without a willingness to understand, I can do nothing. Even when I have to learn to ride a bicycle or drive a car, at least I need a willingness to do it, right? I need to I need to have a want for riding a bicycle or driving a car. So if I do not have a willingness to look at my own life, nothing can happen. Those patterns will continue, the misery will continue. And am I in love with myself if I let the misery continue? Would I not want to look at the misery and try to see where it is springing from? If I truly love myself, and if I don't love my own self, how on earth can I say I love you? How on earth? And why? The other question to ask ourselves is that what prevents us from this seeing truly that what's happening in my life? What prevents us? Why are we not able to starkly, clearly look at our life? Please share your reflections. What stops
You know,
us?
Max,
Yes, Jasmine.
no, I'm just trying to understand, at least we're aware of this question. What I really don't understand is people can't even see it, you know. To me, it came slowly, but obviously, when you keep chasing something will fill you up. Could be small thing, big thing, you know, and you actually find that feeling doesn't last. एंड देन कब तक भागते रहेंगे कभी ये नहीं कभी बोला शादी कर लो तो थिंग्स विल फिल यू अप या बच्चे हो जाएंगे फिल यू अप फिर एक नहीं दो हो जाएंगे फिल यू अप समवेयर इट्स गोना स्टॉप एंड पर्सनली स्पीकिंग कि चलो अभी भी उस चीज को क्वेश्चन कर लिया दैट्स गुड बट पीपल कीप चेजिंग इट and um, I'm not sure if it's relevant or not, but I really don't understand why people keep chasing after another. Even if you bring them to that, just to ask them. Sorry, if you
Yeah, yeah,
like bring it or a question, bring it to them that question this why this is happening. They still want to keep chasing. Why is that?
yeah, yeah. So let's ask ourselves, why are we not able to see what really is happening in my life clearly? What stops me from looking at my own life? Why do I keep on living in falsehoods forever? What stops me?
And even if when we are aware, just it's just like knowing. एक तो होता है कि not knowing. If you're knowingly even being aware of it, we're not able to do something. I'm just sitting with this question myself.
Yeah,
Why? Mm, I just got to sit with it myself. Like, why do we do that? Why? You know,
yeah,
I like to put this question to everybody. If somebody has to say anything,
yes,
I'm still kind of reflecting on it.
yes,
Sometimes it is even after you get an idea or you get to know what it is, there's always that pressure whether you're escaping the responsibility which you which you have or you are truly trying to discover uh, your own self. That is a dilemma which always people around you try to push around, and they try to pull. They don't necessarily see it as pulling you down, but they try to keep you in the loop where uh, you you're not allowed to have that space where you can really, really do what you really like to.
Would you like to say it again, rephrase it again, because I'm not sure if I understood the first half of
In
what.
a sense, many a times, even after you realize what you what you really like and what you really love to do, or what is that void, th- it's almost like there's societal pressure. There's conditioning in the family that you have been living in this way, so you have to maintain that. You have to live in the same way, even though you are willing to. In your own self, you're fine that it's okay. I can let go of my old ways of living. There's always that societal pressure and thing that people.
Yeah, I think let me just share it and see if I understood you correctly for all of us. So you are sharing that even when I begin to realize for myself that I am okay, uh, and I don't need to uh, subscribe to what society tells me about love and marriage and all that, there is a lot of pressure from society, so that you are bent according to the images about how life should be or how love should be and how you should be settled in life. That is what you are sharing.
Yes, yes,
Okay, okay. So at this I am totally with you, Himanshu, that yes, there is a societal pressure, but haven't we all followed or done things in our life where we have really felt a strong conviction that yes, this is what I must be doing? In that moment, no society came in between to stop me. So haven't we all done already that in our life, that we have been able to do an action or something in our life that we wanted to pursue even when the society was against it? Do you have any such experience?
yes. There has been such experiences, um, but but it again, the mind comes back to the point that you are hurting your near and dear ones because they don't understand that feeling. They don't have any reference point to how you feel within when that is there.
Exactly,
They don't
exactly.
have a reference point.
Yeah,
And then
beautiful.
if for them, if you leave it at that point, it feels like you're taking them away only for your own self.
Mm,
That is that is
yeah.
that is the way where you think that you can carry along and get them to experience that. And
So tell me about this experience, because I'm sure this is an experience most of us resonate with, that I understand what is okay for my life and I want to follow my life that way. But people and family and relatives and pressure from especially near and dear ones, so called near and dear ones, the ones who are blood related to us, they have this constant pressure that this is how you should be living a life, right? And in order not to hurt them, and when you say hurt them, it is hurting their own conceptions about life, right? It's not hurting them, it's hurting their images about life, right? So I am trying that I should not be hurting this fellow, and in that I am actually partnering a crime. How? Because what can be hurt is only an image. What can be hurt is only an ego. So I am partnering a crime. How? That I am trying to massage, I trying to, by keeping them away from truth, by daring not to discuss this matter with them in truth, what I feel about the matter, I am actually helping them. Okay, stay enclosed in your chambers, never dare to discuss truth. And do you see that it helps? Do you see that even after you subscribing to what they think you should be doing in life, are they still happy?
they are not happy. They are not happy. But what I see is even even if I go my way and I am happy. I feel there's an opportunity where, for example, my own parents will not, they'll get averse to it, and they'll completely not try to explore the path. That is the only thing which stops me from taking that decision. That if I if I break away and do that, they become averse to it. And at least now, if I'm with them, I'm trying to get things around. They try to understand. They're not able to understand completely, but they try to understand, and
Beautiful, beautiful.
they're trying to see if they can.
Yeah, yeah. I am totally with you, Himanshu. I think you are speaking for a lot of us. And at this point, can we also ask ourselves that can relationships, which are a daily part of our lives, can relationships become a way of learning about our own selves? So I'm not trying to protect any relationship, and neither am I trying to break it, but I'm trying to constantly discover myself and hence the other through this relationship. How would that be? Yes, Jasmine, please share.
I'm just trying to think what Himanshu was saying,
Yeah.
and actually that came up. That question came up to me today morning, and I was having that experience in a daily, day-to-day mundane life. It's like my heart is going certain way, knowing the truth, but the society or the normal, and it's not even in the pressure. Like there's no, at least for me, I don't feel that pressure. The place and space where I'm in, but somewhere sometimes I question like. Again, it's hard to generalize, but there are a few experiences where you are yourself with that conviction. You have so much clarity, and it's not so much in words, in energy. You kind of I see that influence on the other. Not that I'm trying to influence, but what I mean is it has an impact on them. It touches them at some level where they're not where I think they should be, but in their journey they kind of touch that something. You know? And it's not in control. It's like a flow. But then there are times when you kind of touch them in a way they're more shaken because people get comfortable in their own pain or that they're okay even if they're in that illusion. They're so comfortable in that illusion. Everyone has their illusion, and sometimes they just get so defensive about it. So um, I forgot what was I coming down to, but eventually like when I sit with this, like I said, there's no general, but it all comes back to you. It kind of teaches me about me. And it some days it and I think somewhere it's a slow process because I have to kind of choose my battles depending on where I am too. Like I can't whole day. It's almost because it's something I'm shifting within myself. So it feels like work till it becomes that natural self and flow. You're going against yourself in the moment sometimes. And at the same time, while you're kind of fighting with your own conditioning or your own illusion, whereas outside is there too. So sometimes it gets too much. Sometimes I just let it go,
Jasmine, I would say something here, and that is that instead of taking it as a fight against my
Yeah.
conditioning, uh,
Hmm.
how would it sound if I make it an exploration in my conditioning?
Yeah, I actually don't really mean that fight in that sense, but what I mean, when you, like I said, practice it more and more, so it's not so much fighting. It's like your true self is that light is shining on, so the darkness doesn't feel so scary or anything. It's just you're holding on to that light, so everything kind of
Yeah.
flows naturally. But it's just that in maybe form level or materialistic level when it translates, because it's almost like you are coming from a different. Uh, I said, completely different perspective or change. And but people are at very surface level,
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes.
and with your loved ones, out of compassion or out of space, you kind of sense that, and I think somewhere that slows you down too sometimes. So, and then I tend to, I don't know what the answer is, but I tend to question myself there am I giving them enough space for their whatever they have to go through, or am I trying to influence them with my experience, no matter how good and how right it seems? Do that make sense?
Yeah. Jasmine, how would, and I'm sure you have had experiences there. So imagine that we are always in relationship, right? So that is true for each one of us. We are always in a relationship, either with a thing, an object, a place, or a person. We are
Yeah.
always relating, right? And that is why we are investigating relationships today. That, can we make it a self exploration relationships? So I am just asking you, and maybe you have experiences to share, that imagine that the other person at the moment, let's give it a complain kind of a, make it a wall, that the other person at the moment is coming completely out of conditioning, completely out of anger, completely out of fear, anxiety, panic, whatever. Okay, now I am here because we are all here. The other person is not here, we are all here. So we talk about our own experiences, right? I am here and I want to take life as an exploration. So each moment that relationship, whether it's a bad or a good, I don't want to put any labels on it, each moment of experience through that relationship, I take it as a means to learn something about the nature of my own and hence the other person. So when the other person is coming out of anger, fear, and anxiety, and I see that I don't want to come out of that space, so I spring out, my action or my silence or whatever springs out of a love or compassion or a peace, whatever is the present state within my being, right? Would you think that that would make a difference? Now, on the
That's what
other hand, nothing has changed.
yeah, that's what I was talking about. That I have seen that, and I have seen sometimes it comes across. That's what I said. I mean, broadly putting it into two categories. When it touches something in that person, sometimes that happens. Sometimes the person becomes too defensive, and I understand it has nothing to do with me here. At the, like because interaction between two people are involved.
Yeah,
And that's where I said, like, it all comes down to back to me understanding even this, that it has, I
exactly.
did my part sort of thing.
Exactly.
So
So
that
I
kind
am,
of, no,
Jasmine is
you say
learning
it.
about yourself, Jasmine or me, I am learning about myself. And as you were saying, can I allow the other person also space
Yeah.
to learn about himself, whether it is a hurt caused or something has touched deeply, because ego will be hurt. And when ego is hurt, it's a very auspicious hurt.
Yes.
Why? Because ego is a wall. Ego is not our true self. So when I am getting hurt and I am knowing that, yes, I can expand more and more and more, can I allow also this space to the other person that it's okay to get hurt?
So I
And
see where
yeah,
within ourselves, even in this state where I think I'm present and I'm all in that, there is a tinge of that egoic me expecting, like I think I see that it's in a very subtle form, but it's kind of an expectation. Again, like I said, it comes back to you.
yeah,
Sort of that if I am being this, and I'm saying I'm giving the other person space, but there is this little tinge of this ego because somewhere I'm expecting that because I did this, I should either touch their true self, or they should do, or they should grow. So there, it's in me.
exactly, exactly. So at the same very moment when all this interchange is happening, you're also observing your own movements. Wow, now expectation is rising.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
that's right.
not acting out of expectation, but rather observing this expectation. Why on earth does it rise up again and again and again? And what is the harm that it causes to the other person? Because when I am acting out of fulfilling that expectation, I am in for a doom. And when you said that I am allowing that person space. When we actually look at the root of this allowing anybody space
Who am I?
space is allowed to everyone.
I know, who am I to allow that space?
Who am I? First of all, who am I to allow? The
Allow that.
only thing that I can do is
Yeah.
I can take away that space.
Mm,
This is what we do in our relationships. We take away, we grab it. So the space already is.
mm.
I just plunge onto it and I grab it and I suffocate the other person. So how long would I continue doing that? And can it be called love? This is the question that we can ask ourselves, that how long uh, shall I continue doing the same game again and again? And why do I do that? Ask again, point of opportunity to ask ourselves, why on earth do I do that?
Isn't it a way? Sorry, nothing came.
Again, there is no answer. I'm just putting forward some
Yeah.
questions.
No, I was just trying to kind of explore this that expectation and just sitting with that.
Yeah.
Something came to me, I forgot.
Yes, it's okay. Come again.
It's so difficult to have that awareness at every moment of time, that
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
don't
it is.
get triggered when, because we have been used to that relationship for so long, and we know the triggers, and it just happens. You're expect, it's almost like you're expecting it, and when that happens, to not get triggered and uh, not
You know,
mm,
if I
being that
have to share, I
awareness is.
I think for most of us, relationship has become mostly almost a parasitic thing. We eat up each other. We try to eat each other's space. We try to eat each other's freedom. We try to possess and dominate each other. We try to limit and restrict that you only belong to me and hence you belong to no one else. And this is what we call a relationship. It's a very, very sad state of affairs if we really look at our relationships. And as Himanshu was sharing, that, I don't want to disturb your uh, peace, whatever peace that is. Actually, it's not peace, only superficial something, right? So I would not even dare to discuss my truth with you. Why? Because you will get disturbed. So is can that be called a love, relationship full of love, where there is no freedom to talk, there is no freedom to express and live our life as we rightly feel the need to? There is always this want to dominate each other's life. Can that be really love? Would I not even stop to question that how can on earth this be love? Yes.
this just came to me. I don't know. Again, it's can we really give love, or, or we are like we have we can be love. Can we really give love? So I just came to me. I haven't explored it.
Beautiful,
Uh,
beautiful. Thank you for
I'm
putting
sure
it
you
forward.
can.
Yeah, beautiful.
But it came to me. It had. So I thought you can say something about it because
Yeah.
I have to still sit with it.
I'll just write for everyone to reflect upon and not rightly say anything about it, because I think it's good to reflect upon it. Yeah. Snehi, you were sharing something?
Um, yeah. So I actually had a couple of things to share. And yeah, so this topic, love, I think it's such a relevant topic because this word love, I think, is so casually thrown around, you know. And I have always been like, I think I was like born mature. So ever since I was very young, I used to think about these things, you know, what does love mean, and when you say you love me, what do you mean, what is the meaning? Because the most selfless kind of love that I have personally experienced in my life is the love that has been showered on me by my parents, you know. So I don't, so when, you know, like when guys walk up to you and say, you know, when a guy walks up to you and says, I love you, then I'm very like taken aback. I'm like, what do you mean, you know? um and you know, there was this film called Kabir Singh, which attracted a lot of criticism because of how love was portrayed in that film. And the director of the film was asked to give justification, like justify the portrayal of love, like so called love. And he went on to say that, you know, if you can't slap someone, if you can't touch them wherever you want, you can't raise your voice on them, you are not in love. Like, love gives you the freedom to be, to slap the other person, to raise your voice, touch them wherever they like you want. And that, this director's statement fueled this debate even further, you know, like, yeah. And there's this quote, a very beautiful quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. I think I'll put it in the chat box for everyone to just give me, um, yeah. So it says, perhaps one did not want to be loved so much as to be understood, because I think companionship is something that I think we all seek. Like, we need a companion, or we wish for a companion to share our lives with. um, and again, you know, like, we want someone to like hear us and understand us more than, like, love, I think, is a very complicated term. You know, I think, like, the word like, I think, is so much better. Like, I like you, I liked spending time with you, I like to talk to you, I like you as a person. But when you say love, there's so many connotations attached. You know, if you love me, you have the freedom to maybe just, you know, like you said, you like, we torture and like emotionally, that, yeah. And there's another quote, I think, yeah, I'll put it in the chat box. Yeah, so it's, the highest form of love is to be the protector of another person's solitude. Now, this is something that I think I've realized over the course of time, because there was this one time in my life, you know, where I was feeling extremely lonely, and that sense of loneliness was so crippling that I started feeling unwell. And then, like, physically unwell also. I think it took a toll on my mental and physical health. And then, uh, you know, as I started spending time with myself and just, you know, just staying with myself, and I think I grew closer to myself. And then I realized how important solitude is, how important it is to, for us to know ourselves and build a relationship with ourselves. So, if the other person you're trying to connect with, like your companion, is able to understand that and protects that solitude, then I think that relationship would be a lot more enriching and fulfilling. You know, so, yeah. And there's another incident, if we have time, I'll quickly, a very small incident. Um, so I was in grade 6 when, yeah, I was in grade 6 when I had like extremely frizzy hair, like short and frizzy. And people in my class would say things like, oh, jhadu bal, and you know what, they would ridicule me. And then in grade 7 I started wearing my hair in a ponytail, like very small ponytail. And it was day 1 of grade 7. I walk into the classroom and there's this girl. She looks at me and says, Snehi, you know, ये ponytail में तुम और भी beautiful लगने लगी हो. And then I was like, oh my god, no one's ever said this to me. No one's ever found me beautiful. Like all of them were like ridiculing my jhadu bal. And today there's this girl who's like calling me, like finding me beautiful. And that day, you know, I looked at her and I was like, this girl is the most beautiful girl I've ever met, because she made me fall in love with myself. She made me see something in myself that I couldn't see, you know. And that girl is not, she's not conventionally good looking, but she's the most beautiful. I find her the most beautiful person, you know. Yeah. So a couple of things I wanted to share.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful, Snehi. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, as you are saying that instead of love, because the reputation of love is so corrupted, owing to what Bollywood, Hollywood, all the advertisements have done to it, that it's better to use like. And yet we will dare to understand what love is, and yet we will dare, yet we will challenge to challenge all the images about love which are created by the society and which we find not true for ourselves. That's really so beautiful. And the thing that you shared, you know, when I was really lonely, and I think this experience each one of us would have, all the billions of human beings on this planet, that all, we have felt lonely, we do feel lonely, right? And can we take loneliness as an opportunity to come back to ourselves? Can we, as you were saying, that can we respect their solitude? And when we talk about respecting solitude, we come back to the thing that we were about to discuss, being alone. And being alone is something full of love and full of intimacy and full of sacredness, while loneliness is full of pain, anxiety, and fear. You know, so it's almost really magical how we transform from loneliness by accepting it as a call towards our being, and then enjoying the experience of being alone. You know, and without being alone, we can never find love within us, and hence we will, for you know, forever be a perpetual misery for each person around our being. Really so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Uh, that is one point which I really liked about Snehi's shares, and that is the thing which is really bothering because uh, you feel that when you're alone and you do certain practices, but then again you go and meet people and it feels like you're being uprooted from it, and that is where the pain and everything comes in, where you, because you don't want to really interact with a lot of people, you don't want to live that lifestyle, you but it's almost like people, your brain
Yeah.
was in a way.
Yes. You know, one thing that is coming again to me from what Snehi just touched upon, companionship. You know, I think this also has to be really investigated. You know, that why, obviously we want to share ourselves out with the world. So why do I want to limit this sharing and give it a label of marriage, you know, and hence tie myself up? So I'm not saying not get married. I'm just saying that even when we are getting married, should it not be that I am not really seeking fulfillment through that companionship? Because if I am seeking fulfillment through that companionship, forever I will be doomed to disappointment in coming years. This has been a experience of many of us we have gotten touch with in our sessions, that when we begin a relationship from a seeking place, that I want to be with you because you fulfill me, this seeking place, then forever we will be in a disappointment.
It is
Yes,
more about validation, where people have been used to living and looking at how people validate each other. You've done something and you feel that if you come back to that relationship, the other person will validate your action. And you're not that solitude, or people don't have that thing that if you go back to solitude and whether you're able to decide whether your action was right or not. And that
exactly,
validation is always
exactly.
always
So
what people
Himanshu,
seek.
this is the invitation. The invitation is, can I use all the relationships in my life so as to understand what are my hidden motives in those relationships? As you said, validation. So can I become aware of it, that I am actually having wanting this relationship because I want this approval from that other person? This, can it be this self discovery each moment? And if it is not, then we know that what misery it is for myself and for the other person. Because there will be many times when the other person will not be able to give me that approval, right? And I will be forever lost, abandoned, and handicapped. And there will be many cases when he is able to give me approval, and there again I am handicapped because I am dependent for my happiness on somebody else. Is that not the most crippling form of disease, to be dependent on other person, that you are the one who provides me a sense of being alive and be happy? So that is the challenge, that can we use all the relationships as a means for self discovery, that what are my motives, what are my hidden agendas? And hence in more clarity, now the more relationships there are in my life, they will be coming out of this clarity of understanding of this truth, where there is no seeking from the other person that you are the one who has the thing to fulfill me. No, I'll not be putting this burden on the other person, because it's a big burden for the other person. You know, imagine wife depending on the husband to fulfill, and the husband waiting for the wife to fulfill. What a big burden on the other person. Nobody likes to be burdened. So can we make this our life? This is the opportunity this circle is, inviting us to. Yes, please share.
What comes to me is like, obviously, ideally, it doesn't happen. We learn through relationship and experiences. But it's like saying, a whole person having companionship or, a relationship or an experience. But instead, we kind of come to companionship to feel whole. That, the difference, like, what makes sense? Like coming as a whole person already. But obviously, ideally, it doesn't happen like that in life.
Yeah,
Like, not even in my experience. Somewhere there was mix of both.
yeah,
But you go back to, so with this new understanding, you go back to your experiences, whether it's companionship, relationship, whether it's kids, whether it's eating, drinking, as simple as that. That's what I
beautiful,
feel.
beautiful. So you are sharing that in a seeking of companionship, I want to be whole. I think this is really beautiful, because I feel incomplete, I feel restless, I feel really unworthy, and I want to use all the external means to make me feel whole, complete, worthy, lovable, and all that. And that almost never happens. It may
That's right.
seem to happen, it may seem to happen when there is initial feeling of falling in love and all that. It may appear that it is happening, but very soon it disappears, right? So can we use all of this to see that no one is able to really give me that completion I am seeking? Where on earth lies this completion? It must be somewhere, because if thirst is there, water is there. If hunger is there, food definitely is going to be there. So if a sense of incompletion is there, definitely completion is also around the corner. What am I missing? And when we really go close to each and every movement of life as we are doing right now, going closer, becoming aware of our own life, our own personal life, we see that whenever anything dawns upon us, whenever understanding comes in my being, I suddenly feel complete. It's a matter of a moment. I just understand, I come close so intimately, and now immediately I see there is no sense of lack. Wow. So, this understanding, this intelligence, this spark of intelligence that each one of us has, can it be made into our life and not put into bedside, forever? Because we hardly use it.
But, but once you have felt the spark, and to come back to it again is you, in a way it feels lost many a time, and then again the same thing, you interact with people and then you try to come back to it. That is the biggest challenge which happens, to have that space.
Yes.
you
Yes.
you have that spark all the time, to keep that, to keep it running all the time is the biggest challenge.
Yes, Himanshu, and that's why the importance of satsangat. Because as you were sharing, the whole society is telling something else. And here I am feeling all by myself, wanting to tread a new life. And that's the importance of satsangat. That's why we have to, because there is so much of external influence, that you need a lot of power and love and determination, that I really want to live this life. I love myself, and that's why I want to live this life, no matter how difficult it may be. And that's why you then slowly connect with more and more of people like you, who also are in love with their life, who also are ready to challenge the norms and society. Otherwise, you're right that you can be again pulled into the drain, because there is so much influence, and the influence is sitting at home. It's our parents, our relatives. They are telling that you are incomplete if you are not married, right? So completely with you when you say that it's hard, but then it's anyway not hard. It's hard both ways. So which path, which difficulty do I choose for myself? Do I want to listen to all the time those things that people tell me and walk their way and be difficult? Or do I want to have this difficult life which I have chosen for myself? Continuous unfoldment of discovery. What is the difficulty that I want to choose? Yeah.
There's this thing. I mean, in this Indian society, that I mean, especially लड़कियों के लिए जब रिश्ता लेकर आते हैं, तो they say things like, ये तुम्हें बहुत खुश रखेगा.
Exactly.
And then, like, why would someone? I mean, why would I want someone else to make me happy or keep me happy? Like, why would I want to put that responsibility on someone else? And another thing, especially, I mean, this is something that is directed to women, because we live in such a patriarchal society that they say things like, abhi tumne shaadi nahi ki, you're not settled.
Mm.
Like Sania Mirza was asked this, when are you getting married? Like a lot of women, they keep getting this question, when are you getting married? Ab settle nahi hue ho aap. Then she was like, I have brought so many laurels for our country, you know. I've represented my country and I've made our country proud. And abhi tak bhi main settle, matlab I feel more than settled. Like every other day you are asked this question as a woman, when are you getting married? Like marriage, like people are just, they just like, this whole concept of like settling down, like what does it mean?
Beautiful.
You like as a kid also they say things like, um like there's this story where the teacher जो होती है वो सब बच्चों से कहती है कि आप लिखिए कि आप बड़े होकर क्या बनना चाहते हैं. तो एक बच्चा लिखता है कि मुझे बड़े होकर खुश होना है. तो टीचर कहती है कि आपको ये टास्क समझ में नहीं आया, ये टास्क आपको लिखना है कि आपको क्या बनना है। तो वो जो बच्चा होता है वो टीचर को देख के कहता है कि आपको जिंदगी समझ में नहीं आई।
Wow.
तो इट्स लाइक
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Snehi, it's really very interesting, and I don't know if I'm going too far, because we are not these bodies. We are not men and women. Understanding has no gender. Light of intelligence has no gender. When I understand something, in that no gender is understanding. Understanding is neutral, it's understanding, right? So I think we really have to break. I think breaking will happen by default. How? Because when I'm acting out of understanding and out of intelligence rather than following just blindly, I will go beyond these labels of being a woman, settling down, unsettling, whatever, marriage, not marriage, living in love, relationship. I will by default break all the labels when I'm acting out of understanding.
Because in many ways, it's on either way. They have conditions that, for example, girls are not allowed to shout. They say boys are not allowed to cry.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's on either side. If they say the girl is not get married, and they push the burden on the boy also, that you are not owning up to
Yeah. Yeah.
your own thing. So it is compartmentalized, like
Totally.
either
Yes.
on either side, and just pushed.
And we don't even question, it would be such plain common sense, no spirituality is required, that people who are asking me to settle down, have they gotten settled down after marriage? They are so restless and full of all the anger and anxiety and all that fear, and they are telling me that you will be settling down. So can I even question here, what exactly do we mean by settling down? Who settles down? The body, the mind, the feelings, what settles down? But we,
Share my experience to bring the lighter note. I got married. I had a love marriage. That's another thing. But I got married a little bit later than usual. So I was 31. But I remember my younger brother got married, and I went to India. And by conventional means, like I've been unconventional in that sense. So I've always faced resistance. So I went to India on my brother's wedding, and ये आंटियाँ सारी आके शादी कब होगी क्या and I would straight away say that ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਵਿਆਹ I would say that literally I would say that, and I would say that just really questioning them out of it's not like I was trying to make fun of, but I actually get, really are you, and I did it very innocently. So anyway, so
great.
a year after I got, and they're like, you know, ये पागल है पता नहीं कौन कैसी बातें करती है ये कैसे क्वेश्चन पूछती है, and my mom would be like, why would you do that? मैंने कहा don't worry, जो पूछता है मेरे को लगा I'll ask them questions. So
Yeah.
anyways, I did it very casually in my own way. ठीक है deal कर लिया.
Yes.
So a year or two after I got married, and I went back, and these people are like, अरे अब सियानी हो गई है, and I'm like, मैं तो वही हूँ. It's like अब सियानी हो गई है, because you met their expectations. They can't see beyond that,
But
वो तुम्हें वो they get so stuck in that image of that.
let the other
But
expectations come now after marriage, where are the kids?
yeah, and then same thing with the kids. And with me, not that I planned, I had kids 5 years later. So I had this fun experience again with 5 years, people saying all those things. But I found that really funny when they said Siani hogi, and I questioned them, what has changed? And then again they said, फिर वही बातें करने लगी, अब
Beautiful.
शादी हो गई है,
और नहीं हुई से
समझदारी अब तो समझदारी वाली बातें करनी शुरू कर दी.
yeah, yeah. But it's so courageous of you, Jasmine, and I would encourage us, all of us, to ask questions. If we really love the people around us, would we really want them to remain in their limited frames of mind? Not really, because love is freedom, love is expansion. So would I not want them also to discuss these things out, and maybe question, at least if not discuss, if they are not willing to discuss, maybe question on what logic, on what statistics are you saying these things? Look at it for yourself. Have you, as you said, have you gotten settled? Have you found happiness in relationships? And none of us would say yes. None of us can say yes. People can say that I have discovered myself through relationships, but I wonder if people can say I have found happiness through another person, because it is not a possibility. It is not a possibility. So it's so beautiful to question, first of all, our own self, and then also our near and dear ones. Yeah. Yes, Himanshu.
People feel we've been pushing them too much when we start questioning. They don't like it. They don't, because it's pushed them out of the comfort zone, they think, and they don't allow that space.
That's okay. I think in the beginning it's good to have a good struggle. Imagine करो कि आप अभी swimming नहीं जानते हो. I'm throwing you into the water. I'm your mom. I'm throwing you into the water, and that's what people do in countries outside. They just throw the little fellow in the water. He struggles for a few moments. Let them struggle. It is an auspicious struggle, because that will, inertia होता है ना माइंड में, बहुत टाइम से सोचा नहीं है, तो अब वो जो स्ट्रगल है वो उसको हिला रही है कि अरे भाई, अरे बेटे ने कुछ बोला, बेटे ने कुछ बोला, कुछ सोचो, कुछ सोचो, जो कि अभी तक सोचा ही नहीं इतने सालों तक. एक ही पैटर्न चले जा रहा है, चले जा रहा है, चले जा रहा है. सो नाउ, owing to whatever you say, and in your own gentle ways, we have to be really gentle, knowing where it is right to, say something, and in what form do we want to put it across. That would depend upon your own intelligence, right? But it's good to have that struggle. Through struggles we make ourselves really strong. So it's good for the other person also to go through struggles. Who is not known in history who has not struggled? All the great names in history have struggled. So it's a good kind of a struggle. ये भी देखना चाहिए ना कि कौन सी स्ट्रगल की बात हो रही है. तो अगर आप हल्का सा कुछ क्वेश्चन उनके डिस्कशन के लिए छोड़ रहे हो उनके पास, और वो हल्का सा उनको डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है, वो बहुत शुभ डिस्टर्बेंस है. अलाउ इट टू हैपन. This is really so beautiful. I just can't stop reveling about it, because any movement of life, anger, pain, jealousy, greed, each moment through all my relationships, I take it in order to come close to myself. I take it in order to discover something new about myself. Just that is enough. We actually feel enough in that discovery. The incompletion that we were talking of. We feel incomplete because life passes by like that, and I don't touch each bit. It just, the whole movement has passed, and I haven't been there at any of the points. So jealousy came, okay, be there with jealousy. As Snehi was sharing, loneliness came, be there with loneliness. And the whole movement of life, the whole big movement of life just becomes a continuous self-exploration. And and we would not even realize that in that we are actually touching upon love. Because no discovery can happen without love. For each discovery, I need to go close to that movement. And this going close to that movement is love. This being intimate with my own being is love. And when I begin this life of a self-discovery, I would actually be one drop less of a poison on this earth. So it is actually almost a responsibility of each one of us then to make life a field of learning, unlearning, and self discovery. Otherwise, there is no hope for this planet. If each drop does not change, we cannot change as a society.
In the same sense, I just want to share something. Like
Yes, yes.
my parents' 25th wedding anniversary next Saturday, 20th. And the whole, we've been living in a joint family, the whole conditioning that everyone has to be there, that the whole drama unfolded. It's been unfolding from 6 months. And somehow, with all the pressure, I've somehow convinced my parents to come to Pondicherry this time for their 25th wedding anniversary, to the ashram, to the samadhi. And in a sense, I'm feeling better now because, yeah, it's struggle, like you said.
Yeah,
There's a lot of struggle for them to understand, but slowly it does, I think, change over time.
beautiful. I think that's a little baby step, and it's really beautiful that that at many, many fields you can't do anything. But whatever baby step I can take in my love, out of my love, and that's really so beautiful. That's really so beautiful. Because in that, I'm not seeking anything. होता क्या है कि जब हम किसी एक पाथ पे चलते हैं, ना चाहते हुए भी हम में एक सीकिंग आ जाती है कि ये बंदा भी उस पाथ पे चलने लग जाए. So, but when I understand that yes, everyone needs to go closer to themselves, then I will act out of love. And this is almost an act out of love, that you want them to go closer to themselves, because there only we can find peace and happiness, there only we can find contentment. So this is really so beautiful. I'm very glad uh, for you that this happened for you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Sheetal, Nitya, and Shagun, you haven't shared anything. Would you like to share at this point of time? Anything, if you have? And even Ritu, I think you haven't shared. Okay, I hope you are not sleeping. Even if you are.
No, no, we are not sleeping, but
Okay.
I don't have anything to share as such because I have realized here I'm just the opposite of what you are saying. Too much I am dependent on others. I just realized it actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, Shagun, we all realize it at some point of time or the other that we are dependent on people for our happiness. And uh, see that, can this just be a realization? And would there, I would say that, is there any need of guilt associated with it? Can it be just pure, simple realization that, yes, I do function like that? Why do I do that? Instead of guilt coming in and stopping the discovery, because guilt stops the discovery. In guilt, I kind of get pulled down mentally and
Right.
emotionally, right? So it's so beautiful that you shared that it has happened.
But then वही guilt आ जाता है तो you basically feel it's not only guilt, it's basically you feel कि हम तो किसी worth नहीं.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So guilt में भी बात तो वही हो रही है. आई एम स्टिल इन द अनवर्दी, मैं और मेरी अनवर्थ उसी को पकड़ के खड़ी हूँ. तो क्या मैं गिल्ट को भी
वही
समझना शुरू कर सकती हूँ? अब आती क्यों है? What is the origin of guilt? Why does it stay so long? What am I really wanting out of being guilty? बहुत बढ़िया डिस्कवरी है ये. It's almost like a magic, पता भी नहीं था. अच्छा ये सब, so many things are there within us, we don't even realize. Can I also take the movement of guilt as a path to self discovery? Not stop there at guilt. Guilt को भी use कर लो, because guilt is coming out of me and my relationships, right? So can I also make that as a
Yeah.
means of self discovery? रुकना नहीं है वहां पे. Questioning it more and more. क्योंकि अगर हम रुक गए ना, गिल्ट आ गई, और अगर हम रुक गए, क्वेश्चनिंग रुक गई, तो अगेन द ट्रैप इज द सेम, द दलदल, द रॉटन फील्ड, me and my unworth. So next time when I will act, I will again act out of unworth. So this is a subtle push that can I make guilt also something on the path of self-discovery, as a means, as a raw material for this exploration. Raw material. सब कुछ raw material है. Anger, raw material. Fear, raw material. Guilt, lust, desire, everything is raw material for this self-discovery. Because now I really want to live this life as a self-discovery. This is the willingness that we were talking of. Without this willingness, no one can do anything. So एक प्यार होना, जैसे बच्चों के लिए हमारे मन में प्यार होता है ना, हमारे अपने खुद के बच्चे होते हैं, दे आर एन एक्सटेंशन ऑफ अवर सेल्व्स. उनके लिए हम कितना भी कष्ट उठाते हैं, कितना भी कष्ट उठाते हैं, तो क्या हम अपने लिए भी उतना कष्ट उठा सकते हैं जितना हम बच्चों के लिए उठाते हैं? No, because बच्चों के लिए that is what our love for our kids. So would I not love myself enough that yes, I want to be with all the disturbances and know what they are truly behind the face value. So this is what we wanted to talk about, falling in love with our own life. As much love as I do to a kid, or give to a kid, or seemingly give to a kid, can I also be loving towards my own movements? Or I want to live a life of perpetual suffering and misery? No, there is no other way. There is no other way. You know, this much I think we deserve. It's almost a birthright. Each one of us, this is a birthright for each one of us to feel really complete within ourselves, and then live a life out of that completion, so that the life becomes an expression of my love, an expression of my being. Because each one of us here, for example, here 6-7 people today, each one is so special. Can we recognize that specialness? Because if I don't recognize myself, who will recognize myself? No one has the time. Everyone is so perplexed in their own mental state. No one has the time. And no one can do, even if they have the time, they can't do much. They can maybe gently nudge you here, there on the path, but they can't do much. You know, so we deserve this love that we are. We don't have to get it from anywhere. There is no Valentine Day that will give me that love. This session was supposed to be a myth breaker, you know, and I was just creating the poster and I realized, wow, Sunday is Valentine's Day. Okay, chalo, love ko fodte hain, you know. So yes, you know, we are that love. It's only a matter of recognition. We don't need to wait for a prince or princess in shiny frilly dress or shining knight armor, you know, whatever they say in these stories, you know. Even if people are there in life, and there will be people in life, but then they will not be burdened with my expectation of happiness. I think that is again an act of kindness, that you are not responsible for my peace and happiness. You can do whatever you feel right for your life, and I am here. I will care about my peace and happiness. You know how empowering this is for also the other person and for my own self. अपने आप को जैसे ही हम शक्ति देते हैं, दूसरे बंदे को हम साथ में सशक्त बनाते हैं. So this is love and kindness, they just go together. And love is not what is portrayed in Bollywood, Hollywood, and advertisements. We must question that. Love is not almost hugging a person. Sometimes love can be slapping a person. You know what Krishna did with Arjun was an act of love. He said, "Le pakad talwar aur ghus ja, field mein." That is an act of love because that is the dharma. So love is not mushy mushy. Love it not kissy kissy. Love is not all pink and glowy and chocolatey. Love is really courageous. Love is full of courage, full of breaking our boundaries forever, because boundaries will keep on forming. We don't even realize another boundary has been formed. So love is a constant pushing of those boundaries. Love is expansion, wideness, strength, freedom, not possession. So can we begin to make it our life? Can we make a vow to our life that, yes, I want to live a life full of intimacy, full of self-discovery, and hence be less one drop of a poison in this whole world. That is our contribution. That is social service. And this much love we deserve. Each one of us deserves it. No one is unworthy here. No one is unworthy. No one. We deserve our own attention. Just that. So just, I think, leaving you there with these thoughts, and I'm sure there is so much to be, done and explored and not done. And we'll keep on this path and, yeah, move on again and again. Yes. So wishing you all happy Valentine's Day. Take care and thank you for joining and sharing, all of you.